Hey everybody, it's Ryan Schlaghack. Welcome back to the channel. And today, what I thought I'd spend time on is just gear. Gear I'm liking, gear I'm riding right now. It's a dreary day. It's been a dreary weekend here in southern Connecticut. And while we let the trails dry out, I thought I'd just flip back to some of the gear that I'm riding. The two sort of products I'll be covering today are socks and helmets. And so if you not interested in those two things, then I don't mind if you head out right now. So I do want to talk specifically about Swiftwick socks. This isn't a paid placement or anything like that. I'm too small a channel for anything like that. But this is sort of like real world review, real world field feedback. I've got a couple pairs of Swiftwick socks, some with a cuff and some with no cuff that I've had for years. I think I'm going on 5 years on these. They are probably just in the last couple of years starting to show some wear, some looseness in the cuff and some things like that. But the performance continues to show up. So they continue to perform, if not look just a little bit worn. There's a compression. The profile of these things is there's compression in the midfoot. It's padded on the toe and padded on the heel, and they really seem to hold up quite well to abrasion. I have caught, only recently I started to notice on the thinner parts where the compression happens, I have caught some brambles and start to get just a few holes coming through. And this is by comparison to things like Sock Guy and even the SGX line from Sock Guy. Great stuff. You probably have a pair of Sock Guy socks yourselves. Bike shops carry them. Sometimes they do their own branding. And Sock Guy's got some pretty compelling, some pretty funny, some funny, some real, some beer stuff. And anyway, Sock Guy is sort of like the standard. You see them in bike shops, relatively affordable. But I wouldn't necessarily call the regular Sock Guy line one that has performance characteristics like Swiftwick does. The reason why I'm bringing this back up is I started to get into started to look after a while at replacing these. And I got into Red Bull, the Red Bull shop. Anytime Red Bull Rampage shows up, these have the 2016 logo on them. So there's a pair of Swiftwick Red Bull Rampage socks that I've been using, holding up well. I've got a couple of pairs. These are just sort of like color coordinated. These were on sale from Swiftwick on their website over the holidays. They're a longer cuff, and I kind of like them for spring and fall riding, just a little bit more protection. I do wear a knee. Sometimes I wear like a knee shin combo, and these end up coming right to the point where I can secure them that way. And then they do some other things. So Swiftwick's got an America themed set. They've also got I think Texas. I think there was a Colorado. Anyway, they went with they've got this line on their website right now. Important to maybe point out, for me, they're durable, they're performant, and they're reasonably priced. I looked into the Descent socks. I think they're out of BC somewhere, and just a little bit out of my price point. Nothing here is less than or is more than maybe $20, and I waited for a sale, and I used a coupon or use a coupon code and did a little bit better. The last set of Swiftwicks I'll show is a pair of merino wool ones. So these have a longer cuff. I use these for late fall, early spring, and winter temps above winter riding above 30 degrees. Along with, say, like an insulated boot, or sometimes my Shimano AM45s. So that's the merino wool ones. The last pair has nothing to do with Swiftwick, but it has everything to do with keeping protected over the inclement weather riding season. So these things should look stiff. These things should look robust. And that's because these are from a company called Sealskins. And if you know Sealskins already, you know that they are a UK company who make waterproof things. Actually, I don't have it to show here, but I actually got a waterproof knit beanie as well for before and after rides, just to throw on. You got your helmet hair and your venting off, but I wear that. I wear that as well. But these are from I'm going to use my little cheat sheet here. These are Sealskins. They are 100% waterproof and fully breathable. They have a merino lined interior, which is comfortable. I can't speak any more than that. They have an antibacterial treatment as well. Probably the coolest thing that's going on about this is, if you've got waterproof socks, or you've ever taken a shot at waterproof socks before, you know that you can basically get into water up to here. And then when the water gets up on your leg and starts to run down, it gets down, and then the waterproofness, the point of the sock starts to go away, because the water starts to make its way inside your sock from the leg. Well, this is a little bit different. Sealskins did something a little bit different, in that they put a silicone strip right on the cuff, right on the top of the cuff. And I tell you, this stuff is pretty solid. It works so well, in fact, that when I left it on for a prolonged period, it took me some time to get back from my ride back home, and it left a nice little sort of like it left an impression, and it started to pull at the skin, tug at the skin a little bit. I think that's just me being overly sensitive, but what it tells me is that it's not silicone rings either. Sometimes you see that like on Lycra. It's one continuous thick silicone band. It's probably 3/4 of an inch wide, and it goes all the way around the lower leg. And so this does not fall down during a ride. I've worn this 3 times. One of the ways that I noticed that this thing was working really well was on the bottom of my Shimano AM45s, which I tend to use. It's an older pair, but I tend to use them in winter riding when temps are above 30 degrees, and with this kind of sock below 50 degrees. The bottom of the shoe has the cleat recess, and there are holes in there. And I guess the sticker, the waterproof, the sticker that keeps the moisture out when you're walking on snow, walking on slush, it's given way. And so when you're walking on snow, the water, the stuff, is forced up through the bottom of the cleat recess. And this, I noticed this kept my feet dry even when I didn't submerge my feet in water. So just pointing out another side benefit, if you've got cleated, riding shoes, boots, whatever, and you might have a compromised cleat recess there where stuff gets in from the bottom. This stuff kept my feet dry. I will probably be using this through, because it's also a warmer sock. There are thermal ratings on this, but I can't seem to find what the thermal rating that this corresponds to. Oh, there it is. Thermal rating number 3, and thermal rating 3 corresponds to the perfect balance of warmth and breathability. So they make a lightweight waterproof sock, and they make a heavyweight, sort of probably like a ski or a deep winter hiking sock as well. This particular one here comes in a couple of different colorways. This one's called the MTB Mid with Hydrostop. And just because I didn't want to bite on another guy's channel, there's a guy out of Germany, I think, who did a YouTube video where he sticks his cell phone in the sock, he dunks the sock in a bucket of water, and then I was going to do it a little bit differently. I was going to have one of my kids call my cell, and on video here we have the phone ring. I didn't do it because that guy's got a pretty original thought. So if you want to learn more about these socks, you want to see what their performance looks like, you can go look at his channel. He does a really good job of showing you how well they work. So that does it for socks. All right, so let's move over to helmets. This is another this is another thing that I've been working on. Get these out of the way. Is I used the Fox Pro Frame. It debuted in winter, spring. It's about a year old, maybe. And it's a downhill certified helmet with just a ton of vents. You can learn a lot about this on other reviews, other websites. I'm not going to review that here, other than to say that for me, this has been a terrific helmet to use for the downhill season. I'm a park rider. I'm not a racer, and this has been just about terrific. Now, one of the things that didn't quite work out for me was this helmet was hanging up, drying out one day. You know, hanging on a bike that I have on a bike rack that hangs from the ceiling, and unfortunately, the bike fell, and when the bike fell, the helmet fell. Now, I fell onto a concrete floor into my garage. Now, that's fine. These things happen. But what ended up happening was the chin bar took a direct hit. And so what you'll find is I've got a little bit of the chin bar itself, just the plastic piece, not the rubber below it. There's just a little bit of separation there. And so the helmet was compromised, although it's not compromised on the part that needs to do the most work. And so I do continue to use this helmet. Don't know if that's a super smart thing. I've questioned whether I should glue this just to bring back some of the structural integrity, but I'm not an engineer. I'm an armchair engineer, and I make stuff up as I go. And I generally tend to turn this stuff over to the professionals. So I use this. I'm using this right now for winter riding, for fat bike riding, for light trail duty, and it seems to do just fine. I haven't had the misfortune or fortune to get to test it again in the way that was intended, but I'll continue to use it. I'll continue to use it for the foreseeable future. Haven't yet decided if I'm going to employ this again for next season's park duty. One of the things that's terrific about this helmet that I wish more people would do, this has the Fidlock system. It's a magnetic buckle, and the magnetic buckle works. It lets you secure things with one hand. Lets you secure this with one hand. It's wonderful to be able to put on and take off the helmet quickly without the loop closures that you usually see on downhill helmets and on moto helmets. This is also, the Fidlock is also something that Ergon has used on their packs, and I think it's a great thing that needs to make its way into more things in mountain biking. So exit the Pro Frame, and the new add to the apparel fleet, I guess, is the Giro Switchblade. Now, the Giro Switchblade is a convertible helmet. It's not like the Pro Frame. The Pro Frame has a fixed jawbone, and this has a removable one. This is the Glacier Mint and White or something like that colorway. I think it's new for 2018. It has a 3-position visor, and I left the bolts. I took the visor bolts out just so I could show you. It's not one that's continuous, so it's 3-position, and it's 3-position by simply there are indexes here on the visor that let you set the height wherever you prefer. Now this is the in its lowest position, it sits right about there, and then it's in its highest position. It accommodates for those who do enduro. We move it to the highest, and then there's a mid. You can imagine in the highest position, it accommodates the visor, parking your goggles up above the helmet, up above the resting up here for climbing, or when you're not using your goggles for descending. So that's one piece that I haven't seen reviews about that I wanted to make sure I mentioned. The other is that, and this isn't highly talked about, but these 3 vents right here are lined with some rubber, and the point of that, or feels like rubber, or some tacky plastic, and the point of that is to give your goggle strap some grip, so that it doesn't slide around and it stays put when it's back here and doing its duty. It also has a rock lock retention that's very positive. It's a very good, very snug. This thing fits true to size, and it does, however, have the older style, the traditional style with the two D rings, where you loop the helmet through, the strap through, and then you secure it with the snap over here. And that's pretty much the traditional way that people hook up their helmets. It's I much prefer the fidlock that's on the Fox Pro frame, and as soon as I can, I'd get one of these again if it had the fidlock. It's really that convenient. This is the Switchblade MIPS, so it's got the MIPS multiple impact protection system. And brand new. Haven't really had a chance to put it through its paces. I have worn it, but it's winter here. I think this thing's going to be awful cold, awful hot in the summer. And when you remove the chin bar, there are what's helpful to note about removing the chin bar here. Let's do that now. It's not as simple as I've seen it done in the videos, because on mine at least, the upper parts of the chin bar hold fast. They have a pretty positive sort of guides here, and I don't know that they get hung up so much as they do their job extremely well, and so they hold fast to the channel. So here's the chin bar. It's you put that over here, and now you've got what can only be termed as like the sort of like the 70s style shell, where you've got the coverage coming over, down the side, coming over the ears. But what Giro have done is they've put channels in here that channel air in toward the ears to warm up the sides, to cool the sides of the head. These are just basically intakes where the attachment mechanism goes. So just trying to show that a little bit, just show you what's going on with this helmet. That's the Giro Switchblade, and I'll be using this more and more. I've been using it this winter and into spring, and I'll see how it performs as a half shell. I guess the last thing I'd say about helmets like this, I have two Bell Super 2R. I had two Super 2Rs, and perhaps one of the things that's helpful to know about these kinds of helmets is, when you think about it, you're not sure you really want to ever ride without the chin bar, because if you crash and you mess up your face, and you had the option to ride with the chin bar, you're probably going to say, geez, I had the option to ride with the chin bar and I didn't. Had I been riding with the chin bar, I probably wouldn't have messed up. I probably would have, the damage probably would have been less. And so that's just one of those things that's just in my head. Is I actually bought it thinking I was going to ride with it fully deployed all of the time. That is, with the chin bar deployed. We'll see. Time will tell whether I run it, open face or not, or whether I use some of my other half shell lids. So, Giro Switchblade, Fox Pro frame. You heard about Swiftwick, and I think that's done for now. See you later. Thanks for watching.